Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Sparkly Tiana. So, a few months ago, I made a video explaining the short story The High Chair by Sita Kulatunga. Recently, one of you left a comment asking for a deep dive to do a video about actual literary techniques used in the story. So today in this video, we are going to look at the exact literary devices the author uses to make this story so powerful. So grab your notebook, grab a pen, and let's make sure you have everything you need to write a perfect literary review about this short story. And whenever you need, pause the video and then continue to watch. Before we look at the specific techniques of this story, let's do a super quick recap of the story so it's fresh up your mind about the short story. So this story is about a girl named Prema. So Prema kind of lives a double life. At the university, she's an educated student just like everyone else, and back at her village, in her home, her family belongs to the Dobi caste, which is considered as a lower caste in the society, which means like their traditional job for generations has been washing other people's dirty clothes. So on this morning, at the beginning of the story, her mother is very sick and with a bad cough and a fever. So Prema was insisted on doing the heavy laundry herself at the river. So while she was washing the clothes, she feels a lot of shame and anger how society treats her family. Later that evening, she has to deliver the clean clothes to the house of the village council chairman. So she's terrified because a boy from her college or the university named Tilak lives there. So they studied at the same university. But I have to mention that Tilak has never mentioned about her about the caste that she belong, what her family is doing for living with the friends in the university, even though they have known for like the others at the university, they know that they are from the same village, but Tilak hasn't he never, according to the story, he never talked about Prema was very feared that Tilak might uh, have been talking about her family, what they are doing to the others at the university, but Tilak has never done so. So, but still, she has this fear. So, she doesn't want him to see her as a poor laundry girl. So, when she arrives, the servant puts her in a back room, like they are these Adobe caste people or the in that casting system society at that time in Sri Lanka, the lower caste people, they are never allowed to enter upper class or high class people's house through the main door. So they are already invited from the back door or back of the house. So she was invited from the back of the house and gives her a tiny low, like a stool. It's not like a chair, but kind of a stool to sit on. So they are not allowed to sit on high chairs. They are only allowed to sit on the floor or on a lower stool. So but then to her surprise, Tilak walks in at that moment and he offered her a big tall high back chair. So that's the basic story. So if you want to know, or if you are new to this video, or if you are watching this video for the first time, please go through the links that I have linked in the description box for the part 1 of this story. So you can find another uh, video from in Sinhala language about this story, as well as in English language. So please go through those videos as well. So that's the basic story. Now let's look at the exact technical devices the author uses to build this narrative. Technique number one, I'm going to talk about symbolism as the technique number one here. So, symbolism. සිම්බොලිසම් කියලා කියන්නේ යම් කිසි ගැඹුරු අදහසක් එහෙම නැත්නම් සමාජ තත්වයක් හැඟීමක් ඒ වගේ දෙයක් නිරූපණය කරන්න මොකක් හරි ඔබ්ජෙක්ට් එකක් ඒ කියන්නේ භෞතික වස්තුවක් උපයෝගී කරගන්න එකට. The first formal literary technique you must write about in your essays is symbolism. So, symbolism is when an author uses a physical object to represent a much bigger idea like social status or emotional states. In this story, furniture is a major symbol for the caste system. The author highlights this through the contrast between low stools and high chairs. ඉතින් මේ ස්ටෝරි එකේ සිම්බොලිසම් විදිහට සමාජ තත්ත්වය නිරූපණය කරන්න භාවිතා කරලා තියෙන්නේ හයි චෙයා එකක්. ඒ කියන්නේ හොඳට හාන්සි වෙලා ඉන්න පුළුවන් හොඳ උස පුටුවක් සහ ස්ටූල් එකක්. ඒ කියන්නේ ගොඩක් පහත් තත්ත්වයේ තියෙන ස්ටූල් එකක්. ඉතින් මෙතනදී තමයි සමාජ කාස්ටින් සිස්ටම් එක නෙමේ ස්ටෝරි එකේ නිරූපණය කරන්නේ. එතකොට හයි ක්ලාස් එකේ එහෙම නැත්නම් හයි කාස්ට් එකේ අයට අපි කියනවා රදල පැලැන්තියේ අය වාඩි වෙන හොඳ උස පුටුවල හොඳට හාන්සි වෙලා ඉන්න පුළුවන් සැප පහසු පුටුවල ඊටත් පස්සේ අඩුම කුලේ එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි කියනවා රෙදි හොදන ඩෝබි කුලයට අයත් වෙන කට්ටියව වාඩි කරන්නේ එහෙම නැත්නම් එයාලට වාඩි වෙන්න පුළුවන් බිම එහෙම නැත්නම් ගොඩක් පහත් පුටුවල එක සමාන පුටුවල එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔක්කොම එක සමාන පුටුවල වාඩි වෙන්නේ නැහැ ගොඩක් ඒ කුලය ගොඩක් පහත් කියලා පෙන්වන්න තමයි මෙතනදී ඒ වගේ උස පුටුවක් සහ පහත් පුටුවක් භාවිතා කරලා තියෙන ස්ටෝරි එකේ. එතකොට මේ ගැඹුරු අදහසක් තමයි ඒ කාලේ ලංකාවේ තිබ්බ සමාජ තත්වයක් නිරූපණය කරන්න තමයි අපිට author එහෙම නැත්නම් writer මේ symbolism කියන ටෙක්නික් එක යූස් කරලා chairs දෙකක් දීලා ඒ මේ ගැඹුරු සමාජ තත්වය නිරූපණය කරලා තියෙන්නේ. So let's look at an example. So Prema remembers going to a rich person's house with her parents. So she says her mother and father were never offered, like never offered a proper chair but only a low stool. In the society, people from lower caste were expected to sit lower than everyone else. So therefore, the low stool is a symbol of forced submission and social inequality. So this is basically social inequality because of caste system at that time period in Sri Lanka. So when Prema delivers the clothes to the chairman's house, the servant named Lucy Hami deliberately finds a small school type of like schoolroom chair and sets it in a corner. Like she doesn't put like in the middle or in a space area, in a corner away from the high ordinary chairs. So even though Prema is an educated university student, just like Tilak, who comes from an upper caste, the servant uses furniture to like try and keep her in her place. Even though she is educated, she still belongs to that Dobi caste, lower caste in her society. So the climax to this symbolism happens when Tilak walks in and he draws out a tall, high-backed chair and tells her, "Take a seat here, do sit down." And the high chair serves as a symbol of equality, dignity, and respect. So by offering her this chair, which is, as I mentioned, this symbol, the high chair symbolizes equality, dignity, and respect. So by offering her this chair, Tilak breaks the unfair social rules of the caste system. So that's all about symbolism. You can use necessary uh, quotes or phrases from the short story to describe it better in your literary essay. So, this is all about symbolism. Let's move to the technique number two. Technique number two, imagery. Imagery කියලා කියන්නේ පාඨකයාට ස්ටෝරි එකේ සිදුවන සිදුවීමක් මනසින් මවා ගන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ මොකක් හරි හැඟීමක් පාඨකයාට දනවන්න එහෙම නැත්නම් දැනෙන්න උපයෝගී කරගන්න දෙයක් තමයි ඉමේජරි කියලා කියන්නේ. අපි මේකට සිංහලෙන් කියන රූප කල්පනය කියලා. මොකක් හරි අපි ඉමේජින් කරගන්නවා. එතකොට ඒ වෙලාවේ කැරක්ටර් එක මුහුණ දෙන සිද්ධිය, එයාට දැනෙන හැඟීම අපිටත් අපි ස්ටෝරි එක කියවද්දී අපිටත් ඒක අපේ මනසේ ඇඳෙන විදිහට එහෙම නැත්නම් අපිටත් එයාට දැනෙන සිතුවිල්ලම ඇති වෙන්න භාවිතා කරන ටෙක්නික් එක තමයි ඉමේජරි කියලා කියන්නේ. So our second official technique is imagery. So imagery means using descriptive words. We use very descriptive words that connect to our physical senses, helping the reader to see and feel what is happening. So Sita Kulatunga uses imagery to make the emotional weight of Prema's life feel the readers like very physically intense. So how Prema feels, what she's going through in her hard times when she was facing all these different situations in her life because of this casting system, all these physical intense she's going through. So the writer uses this imagery. For instance, at the beginning of the story by the river, the author writes like this: the sun was blazing down on her. The spine aged as the hot sun drained her energy. So later she calls the sun a menacing white hot ball overhead and notes that Prema's hands were smarting from soap suds, and this painful imagery allows the reader to physically feel the brutal reality of her daily labor. It's just not like washing clothes, like this is the writer tries her best using this imagery, uh, talking about the sun and how she feels, like to gives us the feeling how immense, how hard for her to do her labor, how brutal the reality of her life. Like she's an educated university student, but how hard it is to do this kind of a job, like washing someone else dirty clothes. Like it's not like we do our laundry every day. It's just not like one or two pieces of clothes. This is like some strangers or someone else dirty clothes, like she's washing, and it's not like physically very hard for her, but mentally also what she's going through is very hard to bear up. So we also get a powerful imagery when Prema enters the rich family's compound. The author states that she felt her legs shiver and a cramping hot shaft of pain in her abdomen. Like she's trying to explain her anxiety and shame are so intense that they turn into actual physical pain. The author uses this imagery to show that social oppression leaves a physical toll on a person's body. Like somehow how Prema feels all these things. So the author, like writer, tries to use this imagery to feel, like not simply just say, okay, Prema is a university student and she's belongs to this Dobie caste. Her family is doing this for generation. It's not like to be something simple or like to mention these things like a fact, but the author is using this imagery to feel us, like to all the readers to go through what is she's actually going through, how her thoughts and feelings are, how physically she is tired of doing this for like of her life, or she has been seen all her fathers and her grandparents doing all this for years and years. She and like it's very hard for her now that she is an educated university student, just like Tilak, who is belong to the upper caste of the society, and he is actually in the same village and they are going to the same university, but still Prema is like outcasted. She is not treated alike. She's still that girl from the Dobie caste. So it's very hard to uh, take it out. Like the society still treats her, sees Prema as a Dobie caste girl who is washing other people's dirty clothes, not like an educated. Like think of how the people in the society or the people in the village see Tilak as a university student or a person. Like they respect him a lot. They see him as an actual educated, a person that has a status in the society. But Prema is like totally ignored. She's outcasted. So this feels so hard on her. So that's what the author is trying to tell us. Author is trying to uh, give us the idea, like for us to feel how hard it is for her through these imageries. So reread the story. It's okay to my one of my tips for studying short stories is like reread the story 5 6 times, even more than that. It's totally fine, so you will recognize some of the things in the story, and it's very easier for you to study in that way. So let's move to technique number 3, juxtaposition. What is juxtaposition? මේ juxtaposition කියන term එකෙන් අදහස් කරන්නේ contrast කියන එක. ඒ කියන්නේ අදහසක් පසුබිම් දෙකක් මොකක් හරි situations දෙකක් එහෙම නැත්නම් feelings ideas දෙකක් අතර තියෙන වෙනස එහෙම නැත්නම් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම විරුද්ධ ප්‍රතිවිරුද්ධ දේවල් දෙකක් යොදාගෙන සංසන්දනය කරනවා. contrasting කියන එක තමයි simply අපි juxtaposition කියන technique එකෙන් අදහස් කරන්නේ. So, technique number 3 is a brilliant word to put into your literary essays. So, this is a brilliant idea or brilliant technique to talk about in your essay. So, juxtaposition is just the formal literary form for like this term we can use for contrast. It's the same, like juxtaposition is a formal term for contrast. So it happens when an author places two completely opposite things side by side to emphasize their differences. So in this story, the author uses this contrast to highlight Prema's divided identity. One identity at the university as an educated uh, girl, educated university student, and how she handles the dirty laundries as a Adobe caste girl. So while sitting by the river, Prema reflects on her dual life. The author writes that for Prema, just like this. So the undergraduate was alien. The campus, the halls of residence walks, passages, libraries were a far cry from the reality of the Dobby bundle. So this is the quote that you have to use when you use this, like write about this literary technique, contrast or juxtaposition. So use this um, quote in your essay. So think about this contrast. On one side, you have the university campus or the which represent education, intellectual freedom, and a bright future is there waiting for you. On the exact opposite side, you have the Dobby bundle, the heavy bag of dirty clothes, which represents the rigid social traditions, poverty, and manual labor. So, by juxtaposing these two worlds, Kulatunga reveals the internal conflicts that Prema faces as she tries to step out of her traditional social class. So, this is the contrast you have to speak of when you mention about this technique. So take it into your mind how the contrast is, like what you have to use when you talk about juxtaposition, contrast, the university and the Dobby bundle. So university represent the education, bright future and intellectual freedom there, but the opposite side is like totally a contrast. Things like when we talk about the Dobby bundle, it's like a heavy burden, heavy bag of dirty cloth, which represent the rigid social traditional, the casting system, the poverty, the manual labor of these people going through. So let's talk about technique number 4, internal monologue. Internal monologue. What do you mean by monologue? චරිතයක් අපි දැන් මේකේ කැරක්ටර්ස් තියෙනවානේ මේ කැරක්ටර්ස් වල ඇතිවන එක ෆීලිංස් බය හිතන එක එහෙම නැත්නම් තරහව ස්ට්‍රෙස් එක කියන්නේ පීඩනය මේ දේවල් පිටට කියන්නේ නැතුව ඒ කැරක්ටර්ස් හිතන දේ ඒ විදිහටම රීඩට ඒ කියන්නේ ෂෝට් ස්ටෝරි එක එහෙම නැත්නම් ස්ටෝරි එක කියවන කෙනාට ඩිරෙක්ට්ලි දැනගන්න සලස්වන දේට තමයි මොනොලොග් ඉන්ටර්නල් මොනොලොග් එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒ චරිතය තුළ ඇතිවන හැම හැඟීමක්ම ඒක බය වෙන්න පුළුවන්, කෝපය වෙන්න පුළුවන්, පීඩනයක් මොකක් හරි ස්ට්‍රෙස් එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක පිටට කියන්නේ නැතුව ඒ කැරක්ටර් එක හිතන විදිහටම රීඩර්ට දැනගන්න එහෙම නැත්නම් දැනෙන්න සලස්වන එක තමයි internal monologue කියලා කියන්නේ. So let's see. So our final technique, internal monologue. An internal monologue is when an author gives us direct access to a character's private, unspoken thoughts. So the story is told from a third person limited perspective. So the meaning, the this stays completely inside of Prema's mind. So this story is like told, the whole story is in third person limited perspective. So all the feelings and this story, what's inside is everything is in Prema's mind. So, because of this internal monologue, we experience her raw bitterness and frustration firsthand. For example, when thinking about how society treats her family, she mockingly thinks to herself, dignity of labor. That's what Prema thought. So, this technique creates a highly anxious and tense tone throughout the narrative. So, we are forced to feel her panic as if it's were our feeling. Like we live in Prema's mind, we live in Prema's thoughts. So, that's feeling. ඒ feeling එක එන්නේ මේ ටෙක්නික් එක නිසා. internal monologue කියන ටෙක්නික් එක නිසා අපි ප්‍රේමගේ චරිතය අපි වගේ කියන්නේ අපිට දැනෙනවා. එයාට දැනෙන feeling එක directly අපිට එනවා ඒ විදිහටම. Her frustration, her anger, her disappointment, everything we feel in the first hand. So when she hears Tilak's approaching, her internal thought shows her absolute dread. So what's going to happen? What is happening? Because she never think of this kind of thing to happen. Quote, her heart beat against the ribs as if it were trying to break loose, and her throat was parched in a cracked, earthy dryness. So, by using an internal monologue, the author builds overwhelming tension, making the quiet moment at the end of the story feel like a massive emotional relief to her. Still, she can't believe what happened, but the breakdown of the story is happening when Tilak offered her a high back chair to sit down. Like, so this end of the story feels like a massive emotional relief. Like, Tilak is a person who is involved in breaking this cycle of casting system. He's breaking the cycle. So uh, throughout the story, you can find many internal monologues that the writer gives us the same thought that Prema is going, what is going in Prema's mind, her feelings, and everything through this technique. So that's our fourth and last technique we're gonna talk about. We talked about. So to wrap it up all. So when you are analyzing The High Chair by Sita Kulatunga, so make sure to talk about the symbolism of the furniture, the vivid imagery of the sun and physical pain that Prema is going through, the sharp juxtaposition, or you can use contrast of her dual life at the university and as a Dobby caste girl, and her anxious internal monologue. So if you use these four key terms in your exams, your teachers are going to be incredibly expressed. Like, you can write a perfect literary review of this story. So I hope this breakdown makes studying this story much easier for you. So if this video helped you out, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below to let me know which technique made the most sense to you. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any more literary guides. As well as I was thinking of what to do next in my very next session. So we will be doing a two-part academic analysis of Lalita Vitanachi's brilliant short story, The Tip of the Iceberg. So please do subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for more videos. I hope you will be very glad to know more about just like this, about The Tip of the Iceberg short story. So good luck with your studies. I will see you all in my next video. So again, thank you so much for watching this video. So hope to see you all soon with another video.